Hello, scientists and engineers. Miss Bobby here. We've been talking a lot about solubility and mixtures, solutions, and suspensions, but we're going to now talk about something else that can sometimes happen when you mix certain chemicals together. They make a reaction. And there are certain ways that we can tell that a reaction has taken place. So I'm going to do a demonstration for you on two different kinds of reactions. The first one is I'm going to mix vinegar and baking soda. This is something that you can do at home too. Please have somebody help you with that. The other kind of reaction we're going to make is one making a precipitate or having something come out of solution. And for that, we're going to be mixing so-called washing soda and Epsom salts. You might have those at your house too. But please have somebody watch this video with you and then help you go ahead and make this experiment yourself. I'm going to do the demonstration, and afterward we'll talk about what happened.
Let's remember what we know about matter and substances and mixtures. We know that the matter of substances can't be created or destroyed, that the mass or the weight is equal to the total mass of all of its substances put together, and that liquid mixtures of substances can be either solutions or suspensions. We also know that in a mixture, sometimes the atoms and molecules of substances react or combine to form new substances, and those can either be solids, liquids, or gases. We know that matter can't be destroyed, and we know that the total mass of a mixture is equal to the mass of all the substances. But what happens if the mixtures of the substances forms a chemical reaction? Using our scientific method, we ask, what happens when you mix a solution of baking soda with vinegar? We have two hypotheses: that there's no reaction we can see, that it forms a solution, and the second is that there is a reaction. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of baking soda in a bowl, add 3 tablespoons of water and stir until it's mostly dissolved. Then add 1 tablespoon of vinegar and see what happens.
Okay, scientists and engineers, now I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of vinegar into the mixture of baking soda. Wow, what an amazing reaction that was. Can you think of why there were so many bubbles and why it was fuzzing like it was? Let's talk about that. You can see that the reaction is continuing to happen. Some of that is because not all of the baking soda ended up being dissolved in the water.
We now know that a chemical reaction did happen when we mixed the liquids. We mixed baking soda and water and vinegar, which is acetic acid, and we get bubbles of carbon dioxide. We saw those bubbles, and even though we couldn't see the carbon dioxide gas because it was invisible. If we had a scale where we could measure everything, we would have found out that the mass of the vinegar and water plus the baking soda and water was going to be equal to the mass of the new chemical calcium acetate and the carbon dioxide gas that was given up. But unfortunately, we don't have a scale quite that sensitive. We're going to try another experiment. This time, instead of forming a gas, we're going to mix chemicals that will form a precipitate. That means that the new substance will no longer dissolve in water. This is what the setup looks like. You can see I have a tablespoon, a teaspoon, and also some other spoons that you can use that'll be just as good for measuring. I put 1 tablespoon of Epsom salts and 1 teaspoon of washing soda in 2 different bowls. I added 2 tablespoons of warm water to the Epsom salts and 100 milliliters of water to the washing soda and stirred.
Scientists and engineers, I ended up adding about 2 more teaspoons of the washing soda. So now I'm sure that my solution is very concentrated and I can't see any crystals of the soda. And I added just a tiny little bit more to the Epsom salt, and that did not dissolve. So I know that I have 2 solutions that are saturated solutions. I'm going to add just a couple of drops of food coloring, any color doesn't matter, to the Epsom salts. And I'm going to stir that around, and so that you'll be able to see what happens when I put this in the bowl. I'm taking a dropper and I'm going to drop the colored, ooh, yes, definitely getting a precipitate. The liquid solution now is kind of a pinkish color, and it seems to be forming, oh, it's not forming a solution. We're getting a reaction between the Epsom salts and the washing soda. Pretty cool. Now I'm going to drop some in, and hopefully you'll be able to see it forming right before your eyes. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks like stalactites or stalagmites. Wow. It's clear that that does not dissolve in the washing soda and is forming a precipitate. Another way of showing that there is a chemical reaction. Hi there, scientists and engineers. I hope you enjoyed watching this video demonstration of reactions. Now it's time to write the report. So let's do that together.
So we already know about our list of questions and our hypotheses. What did we see? We saw that precipitation, and so we know that there was a reaction. And what was the state of matter of the new substance that we saw being formed? It was definitely a solid. Last but not least, this is how the chemists would write the reaction. We know from reading the package that Epsom salts is magnesium sulfate. We know from reading the package that washing soda is sodium carbonate. When we mix the 2 solutions together, we get a new compound called magnesium carbonate, and the sodium sulfate stays in the liquid form. The magnesium carbonate forms a precipitate. We also know that matter cannot be created or destroyed. So if we had a very sensitive balance, we could show that the total mass of the Epsom salts in water plus the total mass of the washing soda in water would be equal to the total mass of the magnesium carbonate precipitate, whatever water we had in our solutions, and whatever sodium sulfate was left in solution.
Hello, scientists and engineers. I hope you enjoyed learning about 2 different ways that you can tell if there's a reaction when you mix 2 liquids together. You found that in one case, it formed a gas, and in another case, the new substance formed a precipitate. Another really interesting thing about chemistry is that chemists not only put substances together to form new substances, but they also try to separate mixtures. So I hope you're able to find more information about separating mixtures into their original substances. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.